just kind of like the rundown, man, of the year, the 2021 just year in review.
Yeah. So we had a bunch of games on the list. Feel free to take your liberties, Sterling, with the list and omit anything that you feel is like not worth mentioning. But we kind of just notated every game that we've either talked about or been sort of aware of this year that's relevant to our interests, sort of chronologically by release date. So we're just going to kind of run through them, chat about them. You know, how did we play it? What's our thoughts on it? Kind of just like the general mood about the game and just reviewing how it came out, Sterling. Anything else you want to say about that?
Not really, man. I think looking at our list, I don't think anything needs to be omitted. I think everything's worth mentioning, even if we just gloss over it quickly.
Okay, that sounds good.
The first one that came up earliest in the year is one that you have a lot of emotion about. And that was Hitman 3 on January 20th.
Yeah, so I actually tried out the demo for the cloud version on Switch, and I believe you did as well, right? And it was
yeah. We wanted to see what the performance was like. Yeah,
it was absolutely terrible. Whereas I know I've used similar streaming type services on my network before, with the same exact type of connection and everything, and had to play. You know, I know what to expect, right? Mostly, I'm not going to say that I have flawless connection all the time, but I know what to expect out of these types of stream games when I play them. And this did not deliver anything even close to that. It was absolutely miserable. And I just am not really a big fan of paying a lump sum for a game as a service with a potential end date. So yeah, I'm sure the game was great on other consoles and everything where you could actually download the game in its entirety. I haven't played it, but yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, you know, I like the Hitman games, but I didn't have
I do
too much feeling.
I'm a big fan.
For a new one in particular, but when you talk about cloud streaming it and seeing what we saw,
yeah,
it's just not
ideal. It was
ideal,
pretty rough,
but,
man. It was really rough.
Luckily, luckily, a lot of this list is really positive stuff.
Totally.
We're starting off on a shit note, but and on February 11th, we got something I couldn't be more positive about, and that's Little Nightmares 2. The anticipation for this game, it's so crazy. Actually, when we're talking about the awards and just, you know, not to shatter the fourth wall or anything, but just talking about this year's games and, you know, that type of thing. I went back and watched the trailer for this game that came out 2 years ago. I'll never forget the day that trailer dropped. And to the fact that was 2 years ago is crazy. We knew about this game for so long, and it felt like such a long wait to get to it, you know.
But then it was worth it.
But that was a big milestone in 2021. Was the day that released, man.
We may have a little more Little Nightmares content for a future episode. We talked about a little homework assignment. I don't want to tease it too much right now because I'm not sure about it yet, but I think that we may have some more Little Nightmares content in the future.
Without a doubt. That's a possibility. And it's always going to be mentioned.
And it definitely will be mentioned at least one more time this podcast.
Now I remember the bank getting hit a second time the day after for 3D World Plus. Super Mario 3D World Plus Bowser's Fury. Yeah,
back-to-backers on that. February was actually one of the biggest months, which seems so unusual.
Yeah. Definitely. February was popping, man. We got to experience Bowser's Fury for the first time. You know, that was our newest 3D Mario experience. That was a pretty big moment for the year.
Yep. Kara, you know, my fiance and I, we played through the entirety of 3D World Plus, and the bonus worlds and everything over the course of the year gradually. And I got to say, I love this game, man. I really do. We still have to get into Bowser's Fury as far as the co-op side of things, because we really tried to fully complete 3D World. But yeah, man, I am really, really excited to continue playing this game because it was so satisfying to play all the way through it and everything.
Yeah, that was a big one, dude. That's one of the biggest on the list, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Bravely Default 2 on the 26th of February.
Yep.
Now, that was an anticipated release for us. I mean, any of these big Square Enix hard hitters were usually completely there for.
Yeah. This is a game I let my buddy borrow, and he still has it at the moment, and I haven't had time to play it, so not a big deal. What I wanted to ask you, Sterling, we haven't actually talked about the game that much. How much time have you actually gotten with this?
I think I put in a good 20 hours. I didn't finish it.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely got some good time in with it. Something else came out. I'm sure I could look at this calendar and...
I mean, a lot of stuff came out right before and after it, yeah.
Yeah, but... No, man, I got I think a good 20 hours with the game, and I think it's fantastic.
And you're not done with it by any means.
No, I'm not done with it. That's in the backlog, as we always say.
Yeah, the RPG backlog is too much.
Yeah, I do a lot of hopping around with my RPGs. That's one thing about me.
Yeah, I still need to play through Bravely Default.
But a big moment for the year, man. Tony Hawk, Pro Skater 1 and 2.
That was a great game.
Definitely. Not on the Switch yet.
No, but on everything else.
Yep.
Yeah. Which I picked it up on PC right when it came out, and I played the story through to completion for sure. That was a really fun time with that game. I do intend to play it some more because I just love Tony Hawk, but yeah, really, really happy to see this come out and be received so positively. So hopefully we continue getting more Tony Hawk games in the future and everything.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that was the same day as Bravely Default 2. I don't remember that, but that seems to be the case.
Yeah.
But one that we talked about, Pac-Man 99, April 7th. So I guess March was... Yeah, it's cool to see another one of those 100-player, online exclusive games for the Switch.
Definitely.
But it's funny looking at this, and I think we talked about how we were going to have a break in March, ahead of time, and then actually nothing from March made the list for the year in review. Mm-hmm. So we needed about a month's break. I mean, all these releases, the money we're dropping, But then the money must be dropped when something like new Pokemon Snap comes around on April 30th.
Yeah, that was a great game, man. You and I both have talked about recently. We need to get more time into that game because there's a lot to do that we haven't done. I'll just put it that way.
Definitely. There's a lot to do in general. That's the thing. That's what's crazy about it. I put a lot of time into the game, and I still didn't even
scratch the surface.
From what I saw my girl doing. There's so many paths and just so much to that game, man. Resident Evil Village, May 7th. That was a big one.
I haven't played this. Have you actually gotten a chance to play it?
I have not either.
But it was quite well received, which we love.
Yeah, I think it was up for a couple awards. At the Video Game Awards, and I mean, I can imagine it's really good. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's hard to picture it not being good.
Definitely.
So, it's anytime we get a main entry Resident Evil game, I just feel like it's going to be a big deal.
For sure, good or bad.
Yes, good or bad, because I mean, every numbered Resident Evil isn't particularly good.
We know this.
Another one that you had mentioned whenever we got into it, Miitopia came out on May 21st. Very well received game.
Yeah, I have heard a lot of people say that they love this game, but I just have not ever played it. I don't really know exactly what it's about, but I know it's kind of continuing the sort of style of gameplay from like Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort and everything. It's not exactly sports related, but it's sort of in that same design vein, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I remember this was hot on 3DS. Mm-hmm. I specifically remember when it came out on 3DS, and it was a pretty big seller, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think either of us picked up the game. I played the demo extensively, but Game Builder Garage came out June
I don't know
11th.
anything about it really. I have definitely still an interest in the game, but I don't really. I've not actually seen much in terms of gameplay or anything like that.
Yeah, I played the demo and kind of messed with the basics of it. And what I really did was watch a lot of YouTube videos of custom content.
Yeah.
It was really cool seeing what a lot of people did with the creation of the game, like the tools available.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Mario Maker.
I think that's comparisons we started drawing like right when the game was announced and everything.
Definitely, and that type of thing creates appeal to us specifically.
No doubt.
Now, this game came out of early access June 16th, Cruelty Squad. I've brought it up. I think it went into early access January of the year. But man, what a game Cruelty Squad is. Not time to review games, but it's a very slept on big moment of the year, if you ask me.
Yeah, I feel like you've put quite a bit of time into that game.
I enjoy it very thoroughly. It's a lot to talk about. I would even say this game is something that one of our homework segments, which we slack on our homework a lot.
Big time, but there's nothing too surprising there.
No, but a big homework segment would be like you playing Cruelty Squad and us talking about that game. Like that's how intricate it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what, on the 25th of June, we got Mario Golf Super Rush.
Man, my brain just enters the happy place just hearing the words. What an incredible game.
Now that is a big day. We had talked about, Mario Sports goes back probably to episode 1.
No question. Yeah, that's something
If I had to take a wild guess, yeah. But that was the biggest moment in Mario Sports, obviously, for us since we've been doing
Mario
this.
Kart 8. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
We're not big fans of the Olympic Games. I'm sure those are great, but that's never really hit on what I'm looking for.
Yeah. I totally understand and I totally agree. But one that we didn't see. Oh yeah, you know what? Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, same day as that, we got a Switch release.
Yeah. Are you ever gonna pick that up? I know you were interested in it.
Oh, definitely. I'm gonna get it. I think I might get it on PC instead, though.
Seems reasonable.
But then again, I don't know, man. We always wanted it on the Switch. That's where it's gotta happen. I don't know.
Can't go wrong either way.
Might go ahead and just get it on sale on both. How about that? But it was one that we didn't see coming really. On the 30th of June, Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. Now, we wouldn't have really seen this coming from any direction.
Nor and that's by design. The whole Doki Doki thing is to do things that are unexpected. So to launch,
I guess you're right. Yep.
To launch a content update out of nowhere with a new Switch version that's a plus version with new content, I feel like I just kind of stumbled over myself there, but it's pretty sweet. I haven't played it. I really want to play it blind with my fiance and have her just experience it for the first time. That is going to be something that's so great because she has no idea what takes place in the game. Yeah.
Definitely worth
it's going to happen at
experiencing.
some point. Yeah, it's going to happen at some point.
I thought it was really cool. I still want to get it on Switch to see how certain things in the game are applied on the Switch.
Correct.
I'm curious about that.
And there's supposedly additional story content as well, which I have seen every storyline on the PC version of that game. So I would love to see what else they added for sure.
Definitely, man. That's one I slept on. We can't get all these releases.
Well,
let's just be honest.
It came out the same week as Mario Golf, man. I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is for sure. But later on next month, July 16th, we saw Skyward Sword HD, Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword.
And this is funny, man. You're on recording saying that you were interested in this and planned on picking it up on this very podcast. And I don't think that ever took place.
You can't always go by what you say.
I just think it's funny. I think it's
course.
interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I was interested, and I still am, but it's one that just got overlooked, man. I didn't pick it up.
For being a canon main series Legend of Zelda game, you would think that the interest would be higher. From me, I mean, I know you have interest and just haven't made it to it yet, but I don't know. There's something about just the Wii mechanics part of the game that make me just shy away from it, if that makes sense.
I like the way they were talking about the Joy-Cons. That was a big draw to me, really. I hadn't played Skyward Sword and still haven't. But just the way they had the Joy-Cons, like one's a sword, one's a shield, that's kind of cool. You know, I kind of wanted to see what was up with it. But it's funny to think, you would think I'd be more into getting it because I haven't played it. But if it was like Wind Waker HD, we would have been on that shit day one.
Why do we not have that on Switch, Sterling?
It almost sounds weird to say out loud if we would have had it, like it doesn't exist.
I can't honestly believe that has not made its way from Wii U to Switch yet. What is the holdup, man? What is the holdup?
I mean, really, we're talking about from GameCube to Switch, but to see it modernized,
we're talking about the HD remaster
over
in specific.
Yeah. So we've seen other like Wii U titles, but not that. That just seems like a flagship hard hitter that would, without question, sell.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it came out. I mean, it would have come out around the same time as stuff like Tropical Freeze, Pikmin 3, other games that we've seen brought over. I understand that the first port of those games was on the Switch, whereas I guess this would be the second port. It would be a port of a port, but I don't think that would stop them because they don't really have to do much to the game, in my opinion, at all.
No.
Like I don't think they would have to really change the controls. The graphics are perfectly fine on the Wii U version.
Yes.
Like I don't know. Just bring it over. I don't know what the deal is.
I don't need that. I think we'll see it for sure, but for some reason they decided to do Skyward Sword first, and hopefully not.
Which
by
I have
itself.
No issue with. I have no issue with, but I think we should. I just think it's strange to not have seen Wind Waker HD. It's like by now.
Definitely, we speculated on a collection. We thought that Wind Waker might have been on a collection of some sort. I'm surprised that didn't happen.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, we're starting to get access to more and more main series Zelda games on the Switch, to the point where who knows? I mean, have we seen like a Twilight Princess HD? Was that a thing that ever existed? Probably not, right?
Not that I'm aware of, man.
I don't think so, right?
I think it just came out on GameCube and Wii. So that's a game that could be eligible for something like that at some point. We'd have to see. Definitely.
That's highly speculative, but I feel like that's a great game that I've never played, that I would instantly drop 60 on for a Switch port. No questions asked.
I played Twilight Princess all the way through. I remember that. Somebody I knew had a Wii and had the game, and I actually went on a rampage.
Yeah, that's nice. I've never just had a chance to play the game, strangely enough.
Cool that it was on GameCube as well, though.
Totally. They always do that with Zelda, though, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
Which I love.
Yeah, people don't have to feel excluded, We saw something interesting on July 21st, and that's a Pokemon MOBA called Pokemon Unite.
Yep, and we actually fired this up for a few games each and had a good time with it.
Yeah, man, and I recall mentioning that I had planned on going back to it. Never did, be honest with you. I didn't go back to it.
I do have a buddy that actually grinded the ladder for a little while, though, on this game, and he really had a good time with it.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
That might be something we have to revisit, but there's so many multiplayer games you and I are lacking on anyway.
100%. We haven't really played anything on the N64 online library, which is a big bad feel. Like,
yeah, even though I did mention I started my Paper Mario file, loving it.
That's massive. Yeah. That's
And I
another
looked
thing
it
that
up.
came out around this time that we can talk about is the N64 library. We're talking a little chronologically here, but that was something we didn't have in our initial list that I think is worth mentioning is that whole collection that has come out.
Yeah, that was in October. I thought we'd mention
Yeah.
that later on.
That's fair. That's fair.
But after Pokemon Unite, we had Great Ace Attorney Chronicles on the 27th of July. This was a game that were we going? No, go ahead, brother.
I was just going to say, I told you as we were making our list here that I saw this game at GameStop yesterday, actually. I was doing a little Christmas shopping at the mall. I always have to be popping into GameStop. Just even if I don't lay a finger on a single thing, I just like to go in, eyeball what's on the shelves and, at least move on from there.
Evaluate the situation.
Correct. So I did go in, went over to the Switch section. They had Great Ace Attorney Chronicles on the shelf, which I thought was pretty cool, pre-owned for $35. I didn't pick it up. Spent a lot of money yesterday that wasn't on video games. So
understandable.
Yeah. So, but I am interested in it. I love Phoenix Wright, and we kind of have our second found love for Phoenix Wright since they released the first collection on Switch. So
it's all documented, bro. Yep.
Definitely looking forward to playing this.
Yeah, I haven't gotten around to playing it, man. I was talking about how, day oneing it, and I didn't pick it up. It's just another one of those releases, man.
Not enough hours in the day to play all these games, man. It sucks.
I know, man. But no, that's one I'm definitely going to be doubling back to. No question. But man, you want to talk about the biggest day of the year, almost. If not the biggest day of the year, really, it was the big re-release of Quake.
Mm-hmm. That was
August
like your
19th.
Christmas come early.
Oh man, and I didn't even think about it until you brought it up. How I get this newfound love for like OG Quake 4 months prior to like this new age reckoning of original Quake.
Yeah,
kind of bizarre.
Really nice though. Unbelievable. It's like it's such a random thing for that to happen to. Like, it's like if I was like, man, I rediscovered my love for like PsyOps or something.
Yeah.
And then there's like a major PsyOps renaissance. Obviously, it's not a 1-to-1 comparison, but it's like there was no attention on the game beforehand when this happened. Not really. Not that we were cognizant of anyway.
Not at all. And like we talked about, I was at first playing the game totally unoptimized. You'd have to, tweak it yourself to get it looking decent, or just that Steam version.
That Steam port of an old PC disc.
Yeah, which I purchased for you. Funny enough. And then this content update comes, and all of a sudden,
this launcher is something that's totally new and streamlined and optimized for like modern setups, which is awesome.
Yeah. And this is a perfect time to mention when I talked about this recent Horde mode update, and I played the Horde mode. It's awesome. But I also played an add-on that was added to. Now I kind of glossed over this, dude. But the add-on called Honey, which was done by Machine Games, and they also did the expansion packs, like the Dimension of the Past, Dimension of the Machine, some of the newer Quake content. They did that, and this is like a whole kind of a campaign. I didn't realize what this truly was, but it's called Honey.
So amazing that they're still adding content even now.
Yeah, no question, dude. Now I think this was previously released, but it is cool that things like Dimension of the Machine, like this was specifically made for the re-release of Quake. Like, you see a brand new campaign.
And this is the second add-on that's available on the Switch actual side of things, right?
Yeah. Everything is all same, every platform. Mm-hmm. Because with the add-on thing, I mean, they came out the gate very strong with Quake 64, just built in.
Yep.
You already own the game. All the content's there. Like I said, I'm looking forward to a Sega Saturn port if they put that on the add-ons. It'd be so cool to play that primitive ass like odd Sega Saturn port with the mouse and keyboard.
That like janky 2D, like
janky, like not even the game really, like a rebuilt version of Quake that could run on the Saturn, you know,
like playing Doom on the Atari.
Yeah, like you know, apparently the controls were so rough that playing it with a mouse and keyboard would be great. Like even playing Quake 64.
A Quake purist such as yourself will love experiencing that, at least, if not
definitely.
You know, if not grinding out the whole game that way, just playing it and seeing what it's about.
Yeah, man, I have like this infatuation with the 64 version of Quake, and in its own little right, kind of like I think Quake 2 on 64 is interesting in its own right. I've never played the Sega Saturn version. I've seen it many times, you know, video of it. I'd be curious to play it, so maybe we'll see in future add-ons. I could see that happening. It was one of the only other, you know, console releases for the game, really. So it's not crazy to think we wouldn't see it.
And we're seeing Nintendo and Sega buddying up here. You know, obviously they are more than buddied up at this point. They're tied together at this point. But
that's a pretty good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we have Genesis Online built into a subscription.
Yeah.
So, you know, I could go on and on about the Quake re-release, but that was a big day, man.
We do have more time to talk about this, potentially.
Yes. A pretty highly anticipated game, Psychonauts 2, August 25th.
Yeah. We were talking about this. This franchise has kind of like gotten its licks over the years in terms of the games are great, but for some reason, nobody tends to play them. I'm not 100% sure why, and it always seems to be a bridesmaid when it comes to awards. That was the case for the first one, and it seemed like I know the second one has been critically received well, as was the first one, but you and I haven't played it, and, you know, I think it's kind of the same thing. I don't know. There's something weird about the franchise that, like, I'm not sure, but I have a definite interest in playing this game. And the original, which I've never really played.
Yeah, the original I played, and I think it's a great game. It's one of my little brother's favorite games, actually. But, you know, I recall it being very good. But it's funny, yeah, like you said, there's something strange about it. Like, we know that a Psychonauts 2 is going to be good, but we don't pick it up necessarily. And I'm sure that's the case with a lot of people.
It's been a tough year to try and get all the games in, though, as we keep mentioning.
Yeah, the next one on the list is a prime example of us not being able to get a game in that would be otherwise an obvious pickup. And that's WarioWare Get It Together, which came out on September 10th.
Yep. This is a game we actually played the demo together while you were here briefly. And we had a lot of fun playing the demo. I want to say we actually played through the demo in its entirity right away.
Yeah, and I don't even think the game was out yet, to be honest with you. I think we only had the demo.
That's correct. But even that short experience really got me intrigued by the game and wanting to play it some more. So yeah, this is not the end of the story for this game, I don't think.
No, not by any means. We were just talking about if this went on sale earlier, and, you know,
maybe a Christmas present here or there.
Events.
Yeah, you never know.
A big indie moment for the year when a game called Tome, T-O-E-M, came out on September 17th. I had been looking at this game since the trailer launched. Had a lot of stock in it, man. It was kind of like a very interesting art style take on the Pokemon Snap idea, but kind of like running around and having a camera on you. And so I picked it up and I played through it all the way, did everything there is to do. It's a fantastic game. I love to see indies come out like this.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, indies are always going to shine from this day forward, dude. I feel like it's so cool to see indie games go up for awards with big AAA titles. That really says a lot.
I agree. That's what we're all about here on the Star Road podcast.
No question. On September 23rd, we got two pretty decent sized things. The Castlevania Advance Collection, which everybody loves, and Diablo 2 Resurrected.
Yep, which is pretty hype as well to have that on the Switch.
It was about time. I think they did something with some older Diablo, honestly.
Definitely.
Now, on October 5th, this is a big one, Tyler, because we talked about it a lot, and we both were early adopters of Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania.
Yeah, so crazy. This game, you know, it's got a subset of people that care about it, right? Not everyone is going to be the biggest Monkey Ball fan in the world, but we love this game. I have been playing this on and off still since it came out. Obviously, it's tough to pull Pokemon out of the Switch, you know, game card slot these days.
Oh, you ain't lying.
But yeah, this game has been in heavy rotation for me, and it's something I anticipate continuing to pop into play for quite a long time, because I don't see myself completing the game maybe ever. Like, there's so many freaking levels in the game and so much stuff to do. Like,
a problem you love to have.
Absolutely. So yeah, love that game, man.
I haven't gotten near the time in that I've wanted to with it, and it is top of the backlog. Definitely one of these days I'll be killing that shit for days, you know.
That's one of the things I love about the game, though, is you don't have to play it for very long. You can pick it up, play it for 20, 30 minutes and have a great time, you know.
Definitely, it is quick fun, man. I'll tell you what. The 8th of October, not only was it a big day for Metroid Dread, and there's a lot to talk about there, but it also was the same day that the Switch OLED came out.
Yep. Those two things were advertised in conjunction with each other as well. And no other releases came out that day for the Switch either, which I thought was interesting.
It deserves its own day for sure. But I know that it would be dumb or foolish to have anything else become available that day. People are going to be dropping, you know, close to $500 potentially on that day. So to think they'd drop another 60 might be going a little too far. So Metroid Dread stood alone that day. Apparently it sold very well. That's really good to hear.
Definitely.
You know, I was hoping to hear that. But pretty big day for the system, big day for Metroid. I think you can most certainly count on some type of Prime game before Prime 4. I really do think we're going to see an older Metroid Prime or a collection. People want a collection, you know. Even if they just had the first Metroid Prime just in some type of remastered or, you know, souped up ported state, I think
that'd be interesting. I would love to pick that up, because Prime that was a game
Prime
that I played.
is everything, dude.
That was a game that I played through rental only. I played the first one a decent bit as a game rental, and then I never played it after that, really. So I would love to get some more time with that franchise, you know, under my belt. Even if it is just Prime 4, I'll be picking that up for sure.
Yeah. The first Prime I owned on GameCube. I would really love to see that come to the Switch. That'd be a day one, no question. I'm on that. But Metroid Dread, Switch OLED, big day for the Switch, big day for gaming. I mean, Metroid, bro, you know. It's not every day we get a new Metroid game, as you've seen, you know. But the 28th of October, we'd be seeing a game you were anticipating very highly. Age of Empires 4, and also Dusk came out on the Switch.
Yeah, AoE 4, I've seen gameplay of it. It looks absolutely incredibly fun. I've not purchased the game yet, but I will be doing so before too terribly long. And I'm really interested in playing it and seeing how it compares to 2 and everything. That's all I really have to say. Maybe I can get Sterling to play the game with me, since it's a new game. I know we used to play AoE 2 back in the day a little bit. It's quite a time consuming game to play from like a PvP perspective, but it could be pretty interesting, especially if the Game Pass comes to Switch, or if we both end up getting Game Pass for some reason, despite the fact that neither of us, I mean, you have an Xbox at your house. I don't have an Xbox at all, but this game is available on Game Pass for the PC. So, you never know. Could be something we get into at some point. I will definitely be getting into it one way or the other.
Yeah, I think we talked about you streaming it to me so I could see what's up with it. I was going to definitely watch you do some.
That could be fun. That could be
some
very
messing
fun.
around, and then maybe I'll pick it up. But Dusk on Switch, that would be a big impulse buy since I have it on PC and I've played it quite a bit. But I definitely will pick it up on Switch eventually, for sure.
Yeah, maybe when it first starts going on sale and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd like to support the developer. I hate to wait for a sale, but hey, man, I mean, if you already own a game, usually a sale butters it up for you enough to own it elsewhere,
Absolutely.
Now, I know you'd love to see a sale on Mario Party Superstars, which launched on October 29th. Because we were just talking about this earlier.
We were, yeah. That was the one thing I had to say about the game. My fiance loves Super Mario Party on the Switch. That's like pretty much her preferred party game out of everything we have when we have company and such. So I would love to pick up Superstars, but I don't see myself dropping 60 on it, knowing that it's just maps from N64, and that doesn't really matter and everything, but it's a game that I'll pick up when I see it on sale for sure. I really like Super Mario Party quite a bit.
Yeah, it's definitely one that I'll be looking out for. I mean, we can expect to see maybe one of these $40 sales, sometime in 2022, maybe.
Definitely. And it's also the type of game I feel like I might be able to find physical used, perhaps on eBay or something like that, for $40-$45 before too long.
Very true, yeah. On the same day that we got the GTA Definitive Edition trilogy, it's funny calling it Definitive Edition at this point. Mm-hmm. We also got Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic on Switch. That was definitely worth mentioning on November 11th. Definitely. So we know that Knights of the Old Republic was received well because it always has been, but the GTA trilogy wasn't quite in the same situation.
No, that one had a little bit of a bumpy ride at release. Still holding off on that one for now. Just, I don't know. I'll pick it up eventually. We do we have this on the 3 shop? We don't, right? We can mention it now.
No, we don't, but I'll tell you what, yeah. This is something that really speaks to a lot of the talking we've done about this trilogy.
Yeah, so right now, even though the game just came out, it's on sale for 20% off, $47.99 from $60, which certainly more enticing at that price. But the fact that it's on sale so soon gives me a very extreme sneaking suspicion that it will continue to go on sale and potentially even on a deeper discount in the future. So we'll see what happens with that.
I'm still attracted to getting a physical copy for the Switch, but I'll tell you what, dude, I think there's a lot of time on this sale. We'll do some thinking between now and then.
Definitely.
But now this collection really has done a lot of turnarounds that most games don't do. I mean, we're talking about like a month between announcement and release, and then we're talking about like a month between release and sale.
20% off too.
20% off already.
That's not something you usually see.
It's breaking the norm in a lot of categories, man.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I do think I'm going to hold off and see if I can catch it for 30, physical or digital. I think I'm all over that, We'll have to see. Definitely. We'll have to see.
Yeah, but I think it's only appropriate that us, being in December now, this is going to be the last episode we have for the year. The last thing on the list, is potentially the biggest: Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
Yep.
On November 19th. I feel like it was just yesterday.
It does feel that way. It was actually just today that I finally beat the finally beat the story of the game. Finally beat Cynthia. It took me quite a few tries. She is extremely difficult. That Garchomp is something else. I did have one tragic situation where I did get the win, but then my last Pokemon died to Rough Skin at the same time, so it did not actually count as a win. That was pretty rough. That was like on my second try, and then it took me until like the 7th or so to actually make it happen. But all that being said, the game was fantastic. I just unlocked the post game, obviously, right before we recorded, pretty much. And so really excited to get into the game. Really excited to get into the post game. Dude.
Yep. I mean, we reviewed the game in almost an hour. So
I forgot. I didn't realize the segment was that long. That's hilarious.
Yeah. The segment was 50 minutes or so, which I found to be hilarious because usually that would be considered like a hefty discussion. We just reviewed the game.
Correct.
So that says a lot about the games, you know.
Yeah.
But what a year it's been, Tyler. I mean, any final thoughts on the year? I mean, of course, we're not talking from a personal standpoint as much as we are gaming, but I think gaming-wise, we've seen quite a few interesting things, man. Great releases, some that fell short, like the GTA trilogy, you know.
It seemed like it was kind of a bounce back year. Last year with the pandemic and everything, a lot of things got delayed, canceled, sort of like put on the back burner, where we didn't see as much in the second half of last year. And then this year, I think people got their processes in order. They kind of, you know, were able to get back to work a little bit, and that showed really, in especially the second half of this year. Like, we've seen quite a few games come out, and it's exciting. It gives me hope for the future that we'll continue to see a lot of new games from the franchises we love and new things that, you know, we couldn't even possibly conceive of yet and everything like that. So, yeah, man, pretty excited for what the next year is going to bring on top of this one.